Welcome to the Full-Time Life podcast. I am joined in this episode with my good friend, Cassandra. We met virtually on the same course. We are constant learners, and this is our first time meeting in person, so it's really exciting to record an episode together. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Cassandra, and I am a licensed social worker, and I live in New York City. And I have worked primarily with older adults and their family caregivers. And I myself am a family caregiver, and that's how I developed my passion for helping families and caregivers.
What's the best thing you did all week?
Besides being on the podcast, the best thing that I've done this week is my mother is going to have like a major milestone birthday later on this year. So my family and I just literally this week have just started the process of trying to figure out what we're going to do to make sure that she has a blowout birthday this week. My father, my husband, and I, we have an appointment to see some catering halls and those kinds of things. That's been really exciting.
Oh, wow. How big will it be?
It's going to be, I don't know if I should say, but it's going to be a major birthday.
That's fun. Because we're both in the wellness space, what are some of your go-tos for self-care?
My favorite, like my absolute favorite self-care strategy is walking. I love walking. Doesn't matter if it's taking a walk in the park, taking a walk in the city, on the beach, wherever it is that you are. I love to walk. It's like my favorite.
I feel like walking is so underrated too.
It's to me, it's one of the best ways to be able to release tension and stress from your body, and then it helps you to clear your mind. So if you have any issues or concerns or problems, something that you're trying to figure out, it gives you the space to be able to do that. That's my go-to. My favorite quote is by Celia Tran, and it's self-care means giving yourself permission to pause. I love that quote. You'll see I'm a very excitable person, but the reason why I wrote that quote is because as caregivers, family caregivers, often they're doing a lot of things for other people, but this quote says that it's okay to take time for yourself, to do something for yourself. Because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of all the other people that you're trying to take care of? So I really like that.
I love that. So let's get into it. On the podcast, I like to share stories about living life to the hilt and making big moves to either do that or find balance for your life. So share a little bit about big moves you've made, challenges. Tell us everything.
Okay. I guess to start, it would probably have to be like the origin story for Master Your Stress and why I created that. So a few years ago, I was working at a job that will remain nameless. I had to give myself pep talks to go to work every day. I was working at a job that I hated, and I was studying for my licensing exam. And I was really determined just to take it one time because I've known many people, it's a tough exam, and many people have had to take it multiple times. I was determined that was not going to be me. So I was studying for that, taking classes, study groups, and then looking for a new job and having a family, trying to have a life. And I was a family caregiver for my grandmother. So helping her with meals, companionship, personal, all of the things. And I wasn't taking care of myself. I was doing everything else but taking care of myself. And I got to a point where I got really sick because of that, like bronchitis, the whole 9 yards. And it got to a point where I said, I can't continue on living life like this. I have to make a change, to do something to make things a little bit better. So that's when I started looking at different strategies and ways to be able to incorporate more self-care into my life and what kinds of things I could do in order to decrease stress and increase self-care. Of course, like everyone else, there are challenges with doing something like that. So you can't suddenly go from not doing anything for yourself at all to engaging in self-care on a regular basis. So one of the things that I did besides figuring out strategies for self-care was I ended up creating a group at that job that I hated for meditation and deep breathing because a lot of my other coworkers were unhappy for a variety of reasons as well. One of the challenges that I faced was mindset. Suppose no one shows up and suppose nobody cares about like what it is that I have to offer to the world. So those kinds of things. And then another challenge was just change in and of itself. Because I think no matter who you are and what it is that you're doing, what you're going through, change is hard. And even if it's a good change and something that you're excited about, it still can be difficult. So that was a challenge. And then, like most family caregivers, time and money are constant challenges. So what I did to try to work through that, one was creating that group at work, and that ended up going really well. So I was very happy about that, excited about that. And the other things that I did was just try to continue my learning. Like you were saying, they were kindred spirits. They were always trying to learn new things and to continue to develop. So it was learning tips and strategies for what I like to call mindful moments, which are just small things that you can do to increase your self-care that don't have to take a lot of time, don't have to take a lot of money, but just help you to be able to build a self-care practice that's sustainable. Because I really think that everybody, no matter who they are, they should really have a practice of self-care. But if it's something that's difficult and complicated and not sustainable, you're not going to do it. It has to be something small. So a mindful moment can just be taking a minute or two to breathe, take a pause before like, you go into a difficult meeting at work. Or maybe if you're feeling a little stressed out, you're feeling tense in your shoulders, just go take a walk. Like something simple.
I want to hone in on two things. One, you talked about how you neglected your own self-care and your body manifested that. And it reminds me of this book that everyone's talking about that I admit I need to read, but the body keeps the score. But I think the title is pretty self-evident that neglecting your body keeps score of that. And so it's really interesting that it was like basically telling you, Cassandra, you've been neglecting.
Exactly.
And caregivers, it's so ironic, isn't it? That they're giving care to someone else and neglecting just out of just this giver mode.
Exactly, because you're so, I think, busy constantly thinking about the other person and their needs and their comfort and what you can do and what you have to give, that your own needs kind of get put on the back burner quite a bit. And especially if you're working family, juggling a lot of responsibilities, the more responsibilities you're juggling, the harder it gets.
I agree. And then the other thing, what I love about your approach is human behavior science suggests that we can really only make 1 to 2% change at a time. And so what I really love about your approach is you call it sustainable, where you're not talking about a total life overhaul. It's a minute or 2 minutes and it starts to stack so that over time you have that small change. I think that's so practical.
Yes, realistically, breathing for 1 minute is not going to totally and completely change your life forever. But if that 1 minute leads to 2 minutes, and that leads to 3 minutes, and 5 minutes, and down the road, it leads to a good, healthy, sustainable breathwork practice, then that's life changing. Because it goes back to a book that I'm actually reading, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I love this book. So basically, the atomic habit is a practice or something that you do that's small, easy, and you do it, and then eventually, over time, it becomes a habit. Same thing with self care. You don't have to spend 5 hours in the gym every day for self care. You can do something as simple as meditating for 5 minutes. And over time, it'll become a habit and it'll help you and help sustain you.
Okay, so you started this group with your work and it was almost like proof of concept. What are you doing now with this idea of a small group community?
Okay, so I'm very excited. There are two things that I'm working on that are interrelated that I'm very excited about. So the one thing is that I'm working right now on my very first course on self-care, and it's about helping family caregivers, or honestly anyone who's a super busy person and feels like they need more self-care in their life. Yes, it's geared towards family caregivers, but anyone can use these approaches. It helps family caregivers to develop their own personalized self-care practice that's based on their specific needs and what they need to have more of in their life. So I'm working on that, and I'm hoping that in the spring I'll be able to launch that course for the very first time. And then in the meantime, though, what I'm doing right now is I'm working on a challenge for, again, family caregivers, super busy people, anyone that needs more self-care in their life. And it's going to be taking place this month. It's free.
Okay, yes. I need to join it.
Yes, you absolutely will.
Okay.
It's free, so there's no excuses. It's a 10-day challenge, and it's going to take place from January the 22nd to January the 31st. And each day, we're going to dive into different aspects of self-care and different things that you or anyone else can do in order to easily and simply add more self-care into their life. Of course, very excited about that.
I love it. I need it. And one thing that I'm reflecting on, I'm doing Dry January, and I'm reflecting on all of the things that I do that I think are self-care, but they're just like torture. Cold plunge and sauna and working out, and it's all self-care, but I know what I need is to add some really loving aspects to it. And in reflecting on my relationship with wine, that was like the one easy thing I would do for myself is for self-care. And I'm realizing now that I'm not drinking wine that it's not really that caring, and I just need something sweet like that, not the get in the cold for 10 minutes. It all is good, but I'm really leaning into the compassion side of what self-care is and not just the discipline side.
It's the nurturing side of self-care.
What should everyone know if they want to join the challenge? Sure. Where do we go?
The best place would be to find me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram. It's Master Your Stress on Instagram, because I'm definitely going to be posting information and links and everything to the challenge.
Master Your Stress. And you'll find me, and I'll be in the challenge with you.
You absolutely
I need it. I'm called to it. I knew you had something in the works, but this is exciting.
You don't have to be a family caregiver in order to join or participate. I think any and everyone will be able to find that.
Yes, because I want to join. I do want to just share too that kind of the special moment of the power of accountability. I have several accountability partners in life. I have my sister-in-law who's my workout accountability partner, but it's so special that we met on the internet.
I know.
And they're like in person.
Exactly. Wow. It's good.
Yeah,
it's a good
and
thing.
we meet once a week, and and it's not the point of this kind of conversation, but it's worth noting that it's a really powerful tool. And I think that you forming a group for 10 days, that basically is accountability. And as much as we want to do it self-care for ourselves, having that extra lever of I committed to this and I have a group of people relying on me, whether they are or not, is really powerful.
It is, and it can make such a big difference in your life. It is a powerful motivator.
Thank you for joining. Thanks for joining us live from this salt cave. We're like in our element.
I know, I'm loving it.
All right. Thank you.